Airlines bracing for a busy 4th of July holiday weekend with 18.5 million travelers expected from this past Tuesday through this coming Sunday. Joining us now on the state of the sector, Trent, Citi airline analyst. Stephen, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Fuel prices are lower, but there's still pressure here on ticket prices. Why?
So we still have uncertainty in the economy. People and businesses don't exactly know what's going to happen with tariffs. So that is putting some pressure on certain segments. I would say the most discretionary travelers out there are maybe a little skittish. So within the U.S. airline sector, domestic mainline has been a little bit soft, but other segments continue to look very good.
At the same time, airlines have been running much more efficiently and with much more discipline. They've already cut capacity quite a bit going into this sort of slowdown that we may see unfolding here.
Absolutely. And I think that's definitely going to help. And if you look at what happened last year, sort of early 3Q last year was a bit tough. We had a little bit of a mismatch in terms of capacity here in the domestic market. The group acted aggressively. They cut. You saw a nice unit revenue bounce as we looked into the end of the year. And we're constructive that certainly on the network airline side, they are still well positioned to have a bounce as we head into the back half of this year.
Would you book out of Newark? That's the real question I have. I'm not joking.
Newark has had improvements. The runway stuff is done. They're back to, I believe, 34 departures an hour. They got down to 28. So there's now less capacity there. You can't deal with the weather. If you get a thunderstorm, it's impossible to predict that stuff. But yeah, I would book out of Newark.
I have a separate news you can use related question, which is all of these guys have effectively depreciated the value of your points, right? It continues. And it used to be that those were considered a liability. Do you consider them the same kind of liability anymore? When you actually math out what that whole loyalty systems even look like?
Yeah, look, the loyalty system for the airlines and for the financial partners is really good. The remuneration from those programs continues to grow. And if you're a network airline, you really have an attractive pool of customers, relatively wealthy people that demand global capillarity and spend on these cards, not just for buying tickets, for buying groceries or whatever they buy. So a little bit of depreciation of the points is really not going to cause a lot of pain because people are still using the cards. And that remuneration grows. That's working capital tailwind for the group.
Under this president and this administration, do you think that there would be more mergers allowed? We have this United JetBlue alliance, which sort of it's not a real merger, but it sort of looks like part of one. I assume that one of the reasons they haven't done a full merger is because the view is that maybe Washington would say no. But I don't know what you think would happen over the next couple of years, given the deregulatory sort of aspect of the way this administration has spoken about things.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I certainly think, if we were 20 years ago and you still had a lot of the old airlines that no longer exist, U.S. Airways, Continental, Eastern Airlines, Northwest.
Yeah, there's not a lot left to merge. Right. I'm just saying, but there are a couple.
Yeah, true. So outright mergers under that context is going to be tough. If you're one of the big four, it's going to be a little hard to see how regulators are going to let your market share go even significantly higher than it is today. But soft stuff, alliances, I would say all else equal under this administration, yes, you're going to have maybe a somewhat higher probability than you would have in the last administration.